Hi, my name is Tim with EBCA, Experience-Based Conceptual Application. Today I'm going to be talking about the beginning of a form, which is called Sum Tao. That's a form that's inside of Wing Chun. Um, for EBCA, dealing with a system that is understanding supposed to be a conceptual martial arts system, it's a little bit easier to convert and to take certain practices or concepts or principles inside the system and apply it right away, because since it's supposed to be a conceptual application based martial arts system. So, giving that said, we're going to take what we did was we'll take the beginning of the form, which is a with our feet together and you bend it down and the hands come shooting straight up. This understanding is letting us know that right when we engage in somebody that's going to be in a distance that is between a 45 degrees on our hands, be able to make contact. That's pretty much in grappling range, where you can make it grab, clinch, do whatever. In this range that we're looking to be square with our opponent most of the time, instead of having a heavy turn in this stance when they can be in a range where both their hands can touch us. We just don't want to be limited with just one hand out there. We're going to try to square ourselves up. With the knees being bent, that means we want a better mobility, a little bit more spring in our step, and we want to be able to utilize our hips and our shoulders and be able to change levels a little bit better to coming in with this understanding. Giving that said, when I drop down and they come to attention and their feet open up, I know you can't see my feet, but my feet were like this, and then they have the feet that turns this way, then they hold toes and it turns this way. So that gets knees and everything inducting in towards the ground. This is understanding of a concept of hips, knees, ankles, and feet. That means they can turn out and in. How can that body function move? So giving just this understanding of that, when I engage into somebody, that I need to get my root lower, I need to have my hands up, and then that when my hands are up in front of my face, that I can rotate my hip, my knee, or my foot in and out with both of them. That gives me the ability to have mobility where I am being bent and coming through. So we'll take this concept of understanding and we'll see if we can use it in a sparring understanding. So for beginning students, as a coach perspective, is that when we looked at the form and the beginning of the form, this is telling us how a posture needs to be in a certain type of range area. And the range, because it tells us right in the beginning, the range is going to be in this range. It's going to be where my arms can reach, not fully extended, but where they can reach at a slight bend, where I can make contact, grab, or strikes in this range. I need to be square. So when we have someone sparring with it, we're looking for these certain attributes or these certain things to come out with that person in sparring. Now in the beginning stages, it doesn't really matter. We just want them to spar or just to have to play around with just how their body is going to move and if they're rigid and how they're breathing and getting used to the experience of interacting with somebody that they can kind of start trusting in a sense. And then once that's, that bond or whatever has been made where they feel comfortable with their coach or whoever they're working with, then we'll start adding in those things. Hey, we need you to be a little bit more bent. When you get into a close range like this, where you're going to try to utilize both your hands, or you can have that opportunity, we want these hands to be up in front of your face. We want them to be the elbows down. We'll correct little things here and there, but not all at one time. And a lot of the times they're corrected themselves without having to say anything, because their experience and that understanding, they'll start adjusting their own posture, developing on how their body is made. If they're a little bit bigger, if they're a little bit thinner, if they're stronger, if they're weaker, they're going to adjust their stance and their range depending on how they operate versus whatever a technique is telling them to do, or a tool. Now that's fine still to refine something, but in the beginning stages, they still need to figure out how their body is going to operate underneath the stress um, of being involved. So, getting that said, it's a really short video, but it's pretty much self-explanatory in the beginning of that part of that form. Is that when you engage in somebody, you're going to have these different changes. I'm going to post a couple videos too of different levels of sparring, showing it on a coach's perspective of what and how you need to kind of operate with different students. And if you're looking for sparring partners, how to kind of gauge different sparring partners on what you're trying to accomplish in each one of them. That's it. I hope this kind of helps you understand. We'll break down the form even more. But for right now, if you guys are just kind of getting into it, take that and see if you can stay bent. If you get to keep your hands up above your face, if you can keep those elbows in, if you have them out in front, can you throw shots still? Can you move the legs? Can you hop in and out? Can you do this comfortably without being tanked or exhausted or just blowing your wad when you're just trying to come out? Can you control your composure to be able to go those deep water rounds and use it to be able to play with and see if you can just build a good foundation on your structure of how you need to operate in that range? And that's it. And then I'll do another one of more of the intro of the form, getting farther into it and different techniques. Like I said, picking different systems and kind of breaking it down, and like how we would go to the next step of training it and different training partners. But I'll show videos of different levels of sparring partners and being a coach on how you're going to kind of engage with each one of them and how to find your own sparring partner too as well. You just don't want to just pick anybody at random. You want to make sure that you can have a good play and ability with them. Okay.